of the city of Antwerp, to all to whom these presents shall come, greetings. This certificate is awarded to, is that a D? Cavicchi, in appreciation of and as a token of gratitude for his work in the port of Antwerp during the 175 days of continuous enemy air and V weapon attacks between October 7, 1944 and March 30, 1945.
Rockets which were subsonic and V2 rockets which were supersonic against us. They were shooting them from Denmark, and if you look at a map you'll see that Denmark isn't very far from Belgium. So they were shooting them from Denmark. This was subsonic. This was called a buzz bomb. It would circle around overhead making a loud noise, and you didn't know where it was going to come down. Somewhere else, I think I've got a picture of a supersonic rocket the Germans were shooting at us. And that one, when you heard it, it had already gone by because it was going faster than the speed of sound. So this one, when you heard it, you had to be worried that it might be coming down and blowing you up. But the supersonic one, if you heard it, it had already gone by. You didn't have to worry about it. But if you didn't hear it, then you didn't know it was coming.
Yeah. But how did you get the pictures? That picture?
This was after the war in a museum. This is in a museum after the war. But one of the supersonic ones landed a couple of hundred yards away from our boat. And the next day I walked over there and I saw the parts of the engine in a big hole in the ground that it dug on the port area there. Wow. Here's another picture of our boat generating its electricity. Another picture from dry dock. Here's a picture of me standing in front of the power plant that had been bombed out. Interisco. That's just it was a very cold winter. And this was at the time of the Battle of the Bulge. And our guys in the Battle of the Bulge were freezing out there in the snow in Belgium, and this shows a lot of snow then. I wasn't in the Battle of the Bulge. We were about 150 to 200 miles north. Another picture from Antwerp showing our boat next to the dock. And this is a picture of the bombed out plant in Antwerp that we were trying to replace, and if you look at that, it looks a lot like Ground Zero. When you imagine what the two towers that fell in Ground Zero, you see some pictures that look pretty much like that. This is in Belgium during the war, a bombed out place. This is me this was taken here in the United States. I knew a guy who had a Stanley steamer. That's a Stanley steamer. I don't know what that's doing. And the man at the switchgear that I showed you in another book, John Sage, is cutting my hair. This is on the this is the river, so we're already at Antwerp then. These pictures are not in order. Some of these you've seen before or similar. You've seen that picture before. This, I think, is in Ghent, the capital of Belgium. This is at Officer Candidate School again. There was a castle near where our boat was called the Steen Castle, S-T-E-E-N. These are the three that are only, as far as we know, these three are the only ones still alive. This guy was in the front row of that picture, and I was in the second row. And I'm in contact with this guy. I've got 2 letters from him, and the guy in here, he calls me once a month, it seems like, and he sent me a few pictures that he had too, and a few letters too. And I sent him that big picture you saw earlier. I'd just been working inside the boiler. That we had some boiler trouble, and that's why I'm all got black all over me. And he was helping me in there. More pictures in dry dock. That's a good view of the dry dock so they could get all around the boat and make all the repairs. There's Home Sweet Home again. And there's where the mess hall on our boat where we ate our food on that table. And there's another guy working on the switch gears of the boat, the electrical switches on the boat of the power plant. There's a guy also on the switch gear. That guy's name was John Sage, and he's dead. I forget his name. This guy's name is Griffey. He was working on the switch gear. And this is a picture of the cemetery of the United States Army from World War I. From World War I. In the cemetery where all those dead guys are. Back in 1918.
What does the switchboard control?
Where did what?
What does the switch thing control?
The switch gear?
Yeah, the switch gear.
It shows where the electricity's connected, where the electricity's going.
Oh, okay.
And that's what this guy's doing. He's like turning a switch on to turn the light on to turn it off.
Okay.
There's where some of us are eating at our table. But the table had to be bolted to the floor. The table wasn't like this. You could move the table because this went over the ocean, and you couldn't have the table moving. But although if you put a dish on the table and you went over a big great wave, then the stuff on the dish would fall off because the dish would be like that. And if you had a cup of milk here, you had to hold on to the milk or the milk would all spill over.
Oh.
There's a picture in Antwerp of a famous statue. I forget the name of it. Some of these are just scenery pictures. There's a picture of some of the cables of the electricity that we were connected up with in Antwerp. Grandpa Joe put all these pictures in this book, I think. Now here's a picture of a buzz bomb. An actual picture, not in a museum, of a V1. This was a subsonic, the kind that would make a loud noise and circle around overhead and come down.
You took that
explode.
while you were hiding, though, or
No, we weren't hiding. We were out on we were in our boat there. We were like a dead duck, a sitting duck. I mean, there's another good view of the big waves in the ocean, and this shows it was very windy out there. And here's another picture of a V2. A V1. This is a V1. V2s were going so fast we didn't know when to take the picture. And this shows me out on that beam again. I told you I had some more out on that beam, out sticking out over the ocean, in the middle of the ocean. There's another guy out there. That looks like another one. Oh, this might be one of my favorite ones too, showing that big ocean.